You know, this movie is almost kind of scary because it's dealing with AI, and right now that's a big topic of conversation. So if our world is looking like this in the future, guys, I think we're kind of screwed.
Here's Johnny.
My mom always said life was like a box of chocolates.
Expecto Patronum!
The Creator stars John David Washington and is about against the backdrop of a war between humans and robots with artificial intelligence. A former soldier finds the secret weapon, a robot in the form of a young child. From director Gareth Edwards, who brought you Rogue One and the 2014 Godzilla, comes The Creator. Now, when I first saw the first trailer, that looked pretty good. I wanted to see this movie, and then these past few weeks, the hype has begun because whenever an original sci-fi movie comes out and it's really good, it can spread like wildfire. The science fiction genre is so important to film, entertainment, and storytelling in general. Go back to like the original Frankenstein book, the 1930s Metropolis science fiction film. Science fiction is so important in the film genre, so when it comes to this movie, it looked good and everyone started to talk about it. And honestly, I have not seen any reviews. I have seen the Rotten Tomatoes score, unfortunately, but I can say this. For an original movie coming out this weekend, I give it a big recommend. The biggest praise is this production. Gareth Edwards knows how to do big, large spectacle battles and just humongous world planet ships that just look huge. Honestly, he did it in Rogue One and Godzilla, just made everything look huge and awesome. Same thing here, and it's only an $80 million budget. It is insane how good the CGI looks compared to like $200 million superhero movies we got. The Flash. I mean, how does this movie look so good compared to other movies? And they shot it on like a Sony V8. I could be wrong. It's like a Sony camera. I read it on Twitter. It's like a $3,000 camera. I could go buy it at Best Buy. Huge inspiring moment there. Seriously, as a young person that wants to make movies, that is inspiring. To know that that camera can make this. Anything can be made with a camera and a good story. Now, when it comes to the story, I love this world building. I love the AI. I love the themes of human and AI. The scary parts and the joyful parts that no one thinks about. Now this movie is taking the next step and using human faces on AI, and it's a huge part of the story and characters that I thought was so intriguing that I think the story's themes never go darker and more delve deep into those relationships. They're in this movie. Obviously, our main character and this young girl build that relationship, but his character's past and what is happening in this world could have been delved deep way more than I think it could have. But like I said, Gareth Edwards' direction, the cinematography, the amazing score by Hans Zimmer, this movie truly is just a spectacle to watch. Like truly, overall, this movie is really, really well made. I could not stop just looking at the movie. Obviously, the aspect ratio of 2.76, very interesting way of doing it. It reminds me of Ben-Hur, but it makes me wonder why specifically. I mean, it was definitely cool and different. Do not get me wrong. Original sci-fi movie, they're doing something different. Cool with me, but I do question why they did that. But this movie isn't perfect. I do not think this is the next classic. I do not think this is the greatest movie of the year. I just think the story itself, without spoiling it, John David Washington's character has something introduced in the first minute, maybe 30 seconds of this movie, and that entire plot is his character development throughout the entire movie, and I think they gave no time for this development of his character, and it's a very key part of this movie, and I don't think the emotions never ever hit in this movie, and that is a huge thing. When you see the movie, you know what plot point I'm talking about with his character. That connection I never felt. Now, the relationship he builds with this little girl, the weapon that he's trying to get somewhere, that relationship is built throughout the entire movie, and at the very end, when there's big action and a lot of important plot points happening, that emotion hits hard, really hard. John David Washington is really good in a lot of this movie. I will say, in the very beginning, there were a few takes I was like, either you're very dry right now, or Gareth Edwards' direction's not great. Which a lot of people have always said his characters and really dialogue is very pale compared to his scope of the movie. I could totally see people say that about this movie. I just think the emotion is better in this movie compared to his other movies like Rogue One and Godzilla. This movie, you can tell he's trying this relationship between him and this little girl who is this AI little robot, who I believe this is her first movie. She's great. She is absolutely fantastic. Like, everything an actor's supposed to be, she's doing in her first movie, and she's a little girl. Huge, huge props. So good in this movie. Allison Janney as our main villain, very good, actually. For a villain, it is cliche what she's doing, but she definitely elevates this script into her own, and I gotta respect it. She did a good job. So, in the end, truly, I just don't think the main focal point of his character development truly helped in this movie, because the whole time you're like, I just don't feel it. I don't feel this connection, and you'll know what I'm talking about when you see it. Also, one more little gripe. I don't know if it was just me. I don't think the editing was really good, especially when they do flashbacks. It was really cutty and jumpy, and I was like, what? It's like they tell you a flashback out of nowhere for one key plot point, and then they cut to the future, and then that plot point is in the very next scene. It was like, why did you tell the story like that? Maybe this movie should have been longer, and we would have got way more development for John David Washington's character and his plot point, and show these flashbacks in order, and it would have built throughout this entire movie. Maybe the movie could have been way better then, but overall, for a first-time watch, I would 100% watch this again in theaters. I want to buy it on 4K. I want to support this movie because it's an original sci-fi movie, and I truly think in IMAX is the way to go. I'm going to give The Creator a B+. So, are you going to go see The Creator this weekend? What are your thoughts on the movie after you do see it? I really want to know your guys' opinion on this one. I really liked it. A B+ is a good grade, and I think everyone should get a chance to go see it, especially on the big screen. It's an original movie. Come on, go support it. And you guys enjoy this review. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, everybody!